Honourable Minister, recently there was a matter of GETFUND issues that whilst you're a member of parliament or whilst you're a minister, you have benefited from scholarship or GETFUND money to go and study abroad. The uproar about that was that a minister shouldn't benefit from that because he either has enough money to pay for his own study, or a member of parliament, etc., etc. What's the truth about this matter? How much money did you benefit from the GETFUND to do a course abroad?
Thank you. As a minister, GETFUND has not sponsored me on any course. I became a minister in 2017, and I have not even had the time to rest, let alone go on a course. But indeed, the truth of the matter is that since the time I've been in Parliament, GETFUND has always sponsored parliamentarians on different courses, and they still continue to do. Parliamentarians taking courses in Ghana here and outside Ghana, as to do with capacity building of their cells for the betterment of Ghana. We have to understand, if you put aside all the noise that was here, knowledge builds the knowledge ecosystem. If I improve your capacity in constitutional law, I'm building the knowledge of constitutional lawyers in this country, not for a foreign country. I don't work for a foreign country.
So what did you
I'll go there. So GETFUND has always established a principle of supporting executive, of supporting legislator, and supporting judiciary and other bodies in giving scholarships. I would never mention names, but I can rattle lots of names of people from all these units that have approached GETFUND for support. And because they are going to build the competencies in those areas, we do allow it. And there is nothing wrong with it. When we say student, it didn't give an age group for the student. Any Ghanaian that is participating in lifelong learning is a student one way or the other, and will support. If we have to, we would support. And I'll give you an example. We are building a creative arts school, the first of its kind. If it means that we have to find teachers, put them through special training, and give them scholarship to go and improve their knowledge, I would say I wouldn't instruct GETFUND to do it.
But the issue is about the member of parliament.
And I'm saying that, so because you want me to mention names, I want to mention the names. But I am not the first, and I'm not the last member of parliament to have benefited from GETFUND sponsorship. I have no regrets in that sense. This happened in 2016 when I was not a minister, and I was not the promoter of GETFUND. Paul, if there's a scholarship process available at National Media Commission, and you, Paul, you apply to go and improve your interviewing skills with BBC anchors, and it will take you 2-3 weeks, and it's going to cost you £12,000. And you are going to define subsistence of about £2,000. And Media Commission grants that scholarship to you. And in 6-8 months, you become the Minister of Information. Is it a conflict of interest?
No, it's not. I mean, that's not the point that was being made.
The point that was being made...
But you were not Minister of Education at the time.
No, but the
so
point,
no
the first issues that came up, I intentionally never responded, was that the Minister of Education, those NDC people...
That you are Minister of Education, you are giving, GETFUND had given you money.
Yes.
You have ordered GETFUND to give you money.
Those ministers of education who championed that statement are the same people who existed as Minister of Education, got scholarships to go and do masters. How could you do a full masters as a full-time student in a UK university while as a minister or deputy minister for education?
Education? Who was that?
I don't want to mention names. But Ghana government scholarship is not only GETFUND scholarship. There are GMPC scholarships. There are scholarship secretariat scholarships.
The scholarship secretariat is under Ministry of Education?
No, it's under the Office of the President.
Okay, but GETFUND is under the
Ministry of Education.
Yeah.
Yes. And what I'm saying is that when you look around, if we want to mention names, like I told them in Parliament, I can reel out a lot of names who were sitting ministers and deputy ministers.
Since you became Minister of Education, have you approved GETFUND spending for members of Parliament?
I don't approve GETFUND spending. That's another point.
Who does?
Parliament does.
Oh, I see.
Do
you recommend it? Do you have a role to play to recommend it to Parliament?
The Parliament does it. GETFUND has a board of trustees. And they go through all this thing at that board level and then come up with a formula for sharing funds and take it to Parliament. So every year, all GETFUND expenditure is approved by Parliament.
Transparently published.
Transparently published. And you see in black and white, foreign scholarships is there because we have to pay for the Ghanaians who are there. So when we came in 2017, they had already gone because they went on 2016. So we paid.
Yeah.
And we have to make arrangements to pay. Some are doing PhDs, which is no 1 year. They are still doing PhDs, and we are paying. So what is wrong?
So the story is a much ado about nothing?
I feel that because I'm a Minister of Education, and some people don't like the shape of my nose, will find any reason to bring me down. But this man wouldn't stick. And I've promised parliamentarians, the fact that I've been ill-treated in this scandal, or supposed scandal, does not mean I'll cancel that line of scholarships. I will never do that.
To other members of Parliament?
To other members
do you have the
of
power
Parliament.
to do that?
I am not sure I would do that. I can say on policy, give policy directives to GETFUND and say no scholarships or sponsorships to members of Parliament. But that will be highly responsible of myself. Because the knowledge that they go and build inures to the benefit of Ghanaians, not to themselves.
People thought GETFUND was for underprivileged people. And
But you know that it is not true.
yeah.
It is not true. GETFUND has never been for underprivileged people. The law exists. It's there. It's black and white. Go and check.
Yeah.
It didn't even say only needy. There are different categories of people that GETFUND benefits.
I see. So, like I said, this
Like
is
some people said, GETFUND is for tertiary. But that's never true. Since the day we operated GETFUND in this country, and they've gone to Parliament every year. They make appropriations for basic schools. They make appropriations for tertiary institutions. They make appropriations for other government bodies, like scholarships, secretariat, like youth, national youth employment agency. They make allocations for all those things.
That's an interesting one. Okay. So how did you treat the scandal? How did you respond to it? Because
I knew it was much ado about nothing. So even though I never came out publicly, GETFUND went on air
to clarify
their point. Those who want to, the people who started it realized very soon, after 2 days, that the heat will come on them more than this current government. Those who were shouting over it, radio, TV station, who thought it was 2017, when they realized that it was 2016, quickly called, because then theirs was going to come out. If I had allowed myself, vengeful as they are, probably I would have published names of all government scholarships. And it started coming out. Those who had gone on GMPC scholarships to do their masters while they were serving as ministers and deputy ministers exist.
One criticism against you from the opposition about education infrastructure is that President Mahama built many E-block schools. The MPP government inherited all the E-block schools that President Mahama built. Beautiful looking, designed in the shape of the letter E, the alphabet E. And you have refused to use these buildings because you don't want any credit to be given to President Mahama relating to secondary education. How many E-blocks did you inherit?
How can it be true?
But you're not using the E-blocks.
How can it be true?
Did you inherit some E-blocks?
You see, because
but did you inherit E-blocks?
Yes, because it's in somebody's nature not to do something. The person always wants to associate that same line of thought and action to somebody. We're in this country when President John Mills said publicly that his district chief executives and his regional ministers should make sure that they give first opportunities to NDCs, allow them to come to the offices, because they brought us into power. So because of that thought, people think that's what Nana Addo-Dankwa government is doing. No. I am not doing anything selective.
How many E-blocks did you inherit?
I said, today, let me put out this categorical statement. There is no contractor who is owed by GETFUND on any E-block. I said it since last year that they should challenge.
So you pay them?
I said they should challenge me.
Okay, but how many did you inherit?
When we came, let me give you the statistics.
Yeah.
When we came, we inherited E-blocks at different levels of construction.
Completed ones, how many?
I'm going to give you all the...
Okay, okay. Right.
Ghana government, through its phase 1 and phase 2 projects, where phase 1, monies had been paid, and phase 2, nothing had been paid, had initiated 101 schools. This 101 schools included lots of people who had been given contracts that up to now, even sites have not been cleared.
101 school E-blocks to be constructed.
Yes. Before NDC left office, they had completed 13.
13. Fully completed.
They had completed 33.
33.
At different levels. And secondary education improvement project had initiated 23. And there were 17 that had been done.
So
they had
plus
50,
17.
50 that had been done.
Okay, of the 101.
Of the,
so about half
124.
Okay, so about half, a little under half had been done.
Far and a half.
Okay.
Far and a half. Okay, so for what they had started, initiated, they had done only 50 before they left.
Okay, completed, ready to use.
Completed, ready to use. Even when you complete, it's not necessarily ready to use. I'll explain that difference.
Okay.
So as of December 2016, there were 20 and 9, 20 phase 1 and 29 phase 2 that was ongoing. Mm-hmm. Between 2017 and 9, we've completed 21 of them.
Yeah.
Made it operational, meaning added up to the 50, because the 50, not all had been made operational. The total contract sum of the contract that he had given was slightly above 702 million. Mm-hmm. They had paid 378. As we speak, certificates, we have paid 113. Mm-hmm. Those that are standing works needed to be completed on those contracts is about 200 and something million. Mm-hmm. So again, it is not true that we are not completing those projects.
Okay, but using them, that's a big question.
Okay. Let's get this right. I said it here. Do you choose schools that kids should attend for them? Mm-hmm. Or is the heads and parents who choose the schools? From BEC to SSC?
Parents.
And teachers.
Yeah.
Your teacher filled your form
yes.
for you.
Yeah.
So basically, we exercise choice. Mm-hmm. So all these schools are part of the choice schools available to BECU students.
Yeah.
If a child decides not to choose a school, mm-hmm. do I blame government, or do we blame government for not putting anybody in the school?
No, people didn't choose it.
People didn't choose it.
Yeah.
So if you go to the Free SHS Secretariat, mm-hmm. in the last 2 years, there have been schools that we have put on a school choice that nobody is using. From Tamale to Yendi, mm-hmm. fantastic school, built, completed by John Mahama, commissioned by John Mahama. Mm-hmm. Nobody's in.
They are not choosing it?
They are not choosing.
But you can place them there because...
We don't place.
But schools have overflow. They have overflow.
We don't place. We don't do that.
But don't schools have overflow?
We don't do that. No government has that. I don't know. I can't speak for NDC. But as far as I've been a minister... But
when you have an overflow as a disadvantage, what do you do?
Well, let me tell you something. If your child got to Adisadal mm-hmm. and had been placed in Adisadal, and I say Adisadal is full, I've taken the child to Muri Secondary School, you come and shoot me.
Yeah, I know that, but
okay. But if you know that, let's go from there.
But if Adisadal is full and more people are applying to it, what do we do?
Let's go there. It's always good to let's exhaust the point.
Okay.
So now is the child will exercise choice.
For the second choice.
For the school.
Okay.
So if no child chose that school, I can't put anybody in that school.
That's correct, yeah. Yeah,
okay.
You understand that.
So in the 2-3 years that I've been there, that there are schools on the choice school list that nobody has chosen, I can't force. But the reason why people don't choose the normal E-blocks, apart from those E-blocks that are in the middle of the cities, like Dobi-Kwabenya, mm-hmm, the one on Atomic,
yeah,
it is overflowing such that we have put in more structures there.
Okay, so that's being used.
That is 100%.
Okay.
When you go to Kasua, the E-block there, it's 100% being used.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But when you go to the countryside, you told me you had been invited to somewhere to go along, where there's an existing school that kids are going. Instead of expanding the facilities in those schools, you went and outside those schools, a long distance somewhere in the bush, you went to go and put, no car goes there. I'll give you an example.
So were some of them, okay, go on.
I'll give you an example. So even for some that we have completed, you also have to understand that all those E-blocks were called day schools. They were built to be what? Day schools. They were built with no dormitory facility. And even some had no teacher bungalows, apart from the head. Meaning that you wanted the kids to come to those, walk or find transports to come to those schools. And those transports don't exist. And those areas are the rural areas. People don't even have the money to pay the transfer fees. So it is good, and it is something that I want to put on record, that putting the poor man's school child through boarding education is what the country needs. Because that child is even overburdened at home already. No food to eat, no electricity, no water, go and carry water, nowhere to study. Bringing that child into boarding school is an eye-opener for most of those kids.
So what about the
concentrating? I'm coming. So even though we have completed E-blocks like I've showed you, I didn't pay 113 million to the wind. I paid it to contractors given contracts by NDC. But so if the contractor hasn't finished, and no contractor, let me repeat it again, doing any job in the secondary school is owed.
Yeah, I get it. So the question is, why are you not using them? You say you are using, you
We are
cited
using
to
them.
Kaswa
I'm
and
giving you examples of ones
but
we are
the other
using.
ones are cited in places that make it unusable.
I'll give you one.
Yeah.
Drobonso. Drobonso itself as a community is far away. Traveling there from Kuahu Road or more trouble and things. From Drobonso to where they put the E-block in Drobonso is even worse. There are not enough students in Drobonso itself to fill the school. Let alone car to travel from Drobonso village to Drobonso school, that is a day school.
Have you asked the policymakers?
Sorry. That's why I told you I had a long discussion with Leo Kran. God give him a safe place to rest. Who started all this? 2.5 hours. So what we are doing in Drobonso now is to add dormitory.
So that you can make it boarding.
So you can make it boarding.
So you are working on the E-blocks?
Working on the E-blocks. For those areas that have not even completed, when you complete an E-block, it's 24 classrooms. Sat down with an FPMU, that school has no population. It has no dormitory. People are not coming after 3-4 years of completing. Let's cap it at 2 levels. Let's use money and put a dormitory, 1 block dormitory for boys, 1 dormitory for girls. And we just get people in the school while we finish the buildings. Because 24 classrooms.
You don't need all that.
We don't need all from day one. Pakoso, which is a Sokore Bampo, was overflowed from day one because it's in the middle of town, near Kumaka, a Sokore Bampo. It was overfilled. So where they put it in a community that people are in abundance. Some, like I said, we have had to put more classrooms there. Some, like Asakore Bampo, we have had to plan to put more classrooms there. Even though I'm not going to put dormitory in Asakore Bampo or Dobikabeya, because people have voted. That's why Greater Accra has 76% population day. Because the schools are in accessible areas. West WAS, West Africa, Accra Girls, Laboni, Accra, and even Achimota.
So you are critical of the total policy that undergird this E-block system, that in particular, they created it in obscure places and they didn't make it boarding.
They didn't make it boarding.
So it's not accessible.
It's not accessible.
So what you are trying to do now is to boardernize some of those places.
Yes.
Okay.
And make human beings be able to go and stay there and come to school there.
When you have finished this process of bringing
But
in...
let me finish. The NDC that promised the 200 blocks never initiated, they just initiated half.
You said they initiated 101.
101, which is about half, initiated. And never finished, even though they had promised to build 50 every year.
But you said you inherited 50.
40 for 4 years.
When did they promise the E-blocks?
2016. 2012.
Okay.
2012.
So in 4 years they did that. You were talking about children can crawl and walk and all that. So that's
I mean, so we should put everything in perspective. Before those,
so the E-blocks is not a bad thing. It can be used.
It can be used.
It's not being used because of the accessibility situation.
And that is also another policy kerfuffle. How can you have a policy of going to put a day school in a remote part where kids could not get there?
Maybe they're preparing to make it boarding eventually.
They never. I have a copy of the paper they sent even to MPs for land. So it's a day school.
Wow.
The E-block, who has ever said that it's a boarding school?
No, I don't know, but I'm just guessing that maybe they put it there.
That's why it has one design for almost everyone.
Oh, that's the nature of day schools?
That is the nature of day schools they wanted to.
So is it 2 E-blocks in one compound? Some of them
only
2?
One that is shape of E.
Yeah, but don't you have 2 in the same compound?
One.
Everywhere is 1.
Yes.
And it's 2 floors.
4
floors.
Yes.
And it's 24 classrooms.
24 classrooms.
And offices for headmaster?
Yes, offices for headmaster.
Storeroom and bungalow for headmaster. That's how the E-blocks look like.
Sometimes a bungalow for some of the staff.
Okay.
Those that were well-banked projects had bungalows for staff.
Oh, some were well-banked paid for.
Yes.
And some were paid for by the taxpayer.